I would request our head of the department, Dr. P. Charumati, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Good evening all. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh, respected Dean, Professor Chandrasekhar Rao sir, distinguished alumnus and speaker of the day, Mr. Krishnan from 1991 to 93 batch, esteemed learned colleagues, various heads of departments of School of Management, scholars and my dear students. I deem it a proud privilege to welcome this August gathering for the inauguration of DMS Talk Series 2021. First, I take this golden opportunity to wish our visionary leader, Professor Gurmeet Singh ji, and all my faculty colleagues a very happy Teachers' Day. Before I formally welcome, I would like to share my thoughts on this initiative. When I took over as head of the department, I thought of repositioning DMS. As you all know, this is the first academic entity of Pondicherry University and was a very popular preschool in the south. The word repositioning made me think on different lines, but the first activity or agenda came to my mind was III, Industry Institute Interface. Though we had guest lectures, Synapse, Milan in the past, these were done in silos, and now we in DMS wanted to put concerted efforts to integrate these activities to enhance III and improve the placement opportunities for our students. Thus, we rebranded guest lectures into DMS Talk Series with the 3 types, namely DMS Alumni Talk, DMS Expert Talk Series, and DMS International Talk Series. And you know, alumni are the foundations of an institute and acts as a torch bearer for their upcoming generation. As the flagship department in the university, established in 1986, DMS has a long list of alumni who are occupying very, very senior positions in many organizations across the globe, both in industry and academia. We conduct Alumni Meet Milan every year, but alumni interactions should be something much more than an annual event, I believe, wherein alumni meet talk and leave for the next alumni meet. In the department, we have taken initiatives to make alumni as one of the important stakeholders by engaging them in more activities which will be useful for the upcoming graduates. Since I took charge as head of the department, I have been working on repositioning DMS to face the challenges posed by the changing environment, like more industry institute interface, global ranking, alumni fund, more research output, MOUs, etc. I take this golden opportunity to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh, a renowned academic administrator and an internationally reputed expert in the field of corrosion science and smart materials. Professor is very keen to all the activities organized by DMS and has been offering tremendous support. I welcome you, Professor, for this inauguration of DMS Talk Series. Next, I welcome Professor Chandrasekhar Rao, Dean School of Management, who has always been a constant support and encouragement for all the activities and new initiatives we take in our department. I welcome you, sir. And next, I welcome Mr. Krishnan, the Solution Architect and Director, BFS CTS Chennai. He belongs to 1991-93 batch of MBA, and more details will be shared by the students when he is giving the talk. And getting to know your seniors is always an enjoyable yet enlightening ride. With alumnus talk, we will have an interactive session. I request everyone to actively participate in the interactive session. I welcome all the faculty members of DMS and the sister departments, and I also welcome all the scholars, students from our department, and also banking technology department and banking technology department head of the head. I have extended the invitation to them because the lecture is very relevant to their students. So I have also invited them. I welcome every one of you for this August gathering, and I take pleasure in welcoming everyone in this pleasant evening on an auspicious day, Teachers' Day. We are commencing our DMS Talk Series. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. I would request our Dean, School of Management, Dr. K. Chandrasekhar Rao, to address the gathering.
Well, life is the learning is a lifelong process. Every one of us, we learn many things from our gurus. And even today, although I'm a teacher, I learn a lot of things from the university leader, our Vice Chancellor. At the outset, let me extend my pranams to our Vice Chancellor, who has been giving the leadership, and he is the teacher for many of us in educating the university administration one side, and he has providing all the necessary guidance for all of us, especially the School of Management. I am very happy to join this occasion. Dr. Charumati has taken lead, and his colleagues. I am able to see some of my teachers also when I am doing the MBA program, Guru MBA program. Many of these faculties, our Dr. RPS, they're all teachers to me at a later age, maybe when I am doing at 96, 97, the MBA program. I extend my pranams to them. I take this opportunity to invite our alumni to the campus back. Maybe this technology has helped us to invite any alumni from anywhere. They let them be in India or outside. They can associate with the school, and they can be back to the school, and they can share their experiences, their life experiences for the benefit of the existing group of MBA students. This talk series, definitely I hope that is likely to provide lots of inputs to the students, and as well as lots of inputs to the department also, because we can restructure our curriculum, especially when we are on the verge of new education policy, which is putting a lot of new vision in the minds of everybody, especially if the higher education is likely to take a new shape. And the B school, I expect with these new innovative ideas, I think it will get back to the old glory. Especially during the 90s, maybe our alumni will join with me. During the 90s, the only two big schools in the entire South India is the BIM and Pondicherry University. There is a lot of competition, and the students who take the examination, they will always be keeping their fingers crossed to join any one of them, because that is how the Pondicherry University used to rank. I think we are marching towards the better ranking and marching towards image building for the B school. And this type of lecture series is a beginning, and I wish this type of lecture series will be a grand success. With these few words, I invite our Vice Chancellor. I thank our Vice Chancellor for providing a great opportunity for the school to grow during his leadership. Thank you.
Thank you for your felicitation, sir. I would request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh, to deliver the inaugural address.
Thank you very much, please. Our very dedicated Dean of the Faculty, Professor K. Chandrasekhar Rao, Head of the Department, Professor Charumati, the alumni who present here to deliver a talk, probably first in the series here for this year, Mr. Gopal Krishnan, and some senior faculty I can also see who are present here. Professor Puneet Selvam is here. Professor Kasilingam, and some others, and all students who have been attending this. Let me tell you at the very onset that I have been always of a very firm opinion that if an institute has to grow, it has to grow in the right direction with the support of the alumni, because they are the ones who go through the same very corridors, and they have experienced what way the institute was developing and where exactly what was required and what was not there during their time. So they are in a way the best judges of what is needed and what is the direction which probably the institute can have in order to grow in the best possible way. So in my opinion, they are they are ultimately the sheet anchors who will really build the institute. If you look at the statistics of the world, I'm not saying our country, statistics of the world, wherever the alumni has been extremely strong, you will find that they are on such a firm footing that even if the world goes through the most difficult times like the ones we are passing through now, those institutes would never falter. You can look at the Stanford, you can look at Massachusetts, you can look at Oxford, Cambridge, or in our country, some of the best institutes, they have had the best alumni, and this is what has been helping in the right growth of the institutes. So I'm very happy that here also our alumni is giving a good shape to our Department of Management Studies. You see, I have probably said this on one or two earlier occasions also. The difference between what we were doing earlier and what we are now thinking of in academics is that we are now going to develop our students into more skill-based, and skill-based they can become only when they start using their hands, see things for their own benefit, not that they only study or look at the transparencies which a teacher shows in the class. You see, it's like, I'll give you a simple example. It's if I start explaining theoretically what way the car is driven, you may have the best of the presentation and best of the explanation, but unless you actually sit behind the wheels, you will never get a feeling of what way it is driven and how is it like. So therefore, there is always a difference between learning from theoretical point of view and going across to an actual situation and then start working with your own hand. These alumni, I can see, as I said, Mr. Krishnan is here, who has started his own venture. He's going to share his thoughts with you. After passing out, this thing has not come to him as a kind of a gift from somebody. He would have joined some other institute, would have got some training, and then with his sheer dint of hard work, he would have developed this. And when he would have developed this, he would have gone through all the rough weather, and then ultimately he would have succeeded, and he is where he is now. So this is sheer hard work, perseverance, which helped him. And this is what you need to learn. I said you have to use your hand. It is the experience, first-hand experience that a student requires. And I'm giving the example of your alumni, Mr. Krishnan, because he's the one whose work, what is needed, he has designed, he has gone behind the machine, sat behind computer, would have worked, would have planned everything. This is what is called first-hand experience, and this is what alumni is best placed to give you. You see, I've always been giving examples of all the greats you look at. You look at C.V. Raman, you look at Ramanujam, or look at, in our old ancient philosophy, Kabir, or look at any other greats. You know, they were all standing somewhere and doing first-hand experience. Ramanujam was a great person who would go through the different concepts and books and work. He would write in his own hand. He will never tell anybody that you write this for me. Pages after pages, he'll tear off, cross, again write it. And unfortunately, you know, the way things are, our university here never granted him a degree, a formal degree. They said, well, you're not having a formal degree. We can't give you admission. And at the same time, our Oxford University gave him a doctorate degree. They recognized the talent because they knew what he is up to, and we all know that. Kabir, if you look at, he was a Julaha, the person who would knit yarn. And what way he developed, I mean, he was an illiterate person, but then since he was working with his own hands, he developed a lot of mental brilliance which enabled him to write to such an extent that now if you look at the data all over the country, in fact many other places as well, a lot of doctorates have been done on his work. In fact, in my own religion, a large chunk has come from his writings. And there are specialists who have written Kabir in the light of Guru Granth Sahib. So that's the beauty of learning in your own manner, with your own hands. This is what I'm trying to. When I'm saying with your own hands, what I'm trying to tell our present students is to have a first-hand experience by standing behind a working machine. So that working machine, fortunately for you, is your alumni, which has been kind enough to join on this day. This day you have been celebrating every year after year, and a lecture series that you have started is a very wonderful venture, wonderful endeavor. Because when you, right day you celebrate, you interact, you have a cup of tea, have dinner, lunch, whatever, exchange pleasantries, and that's about it. But in a lecture series, the way you have started now, you will be able to get a large, good, detailed lectures from your alumni who will tell you their experiences, that what way they have come up. And this is what is going to be one particular concept which you will find would be very useful to you. It will enable you to grow. It will enable you to set up your own venture. I would urge all of you, don't go in for a job. Maybe you can do it for some experience for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Ultimately, get into your own venture. That is where you will be utilizing your managerial skills in the best possible manner. And that would also give us immense sense of satisfaction. Yes, here is our alumni who had the talent of starting their own ventures, and then come back here. Some of the greats, they were given jobs, they were offered very lucrative jobs, but they rejected those. They said, no, we would have our own ventures. Umpteen number of examples are there. I will not have the time to get into that, but otherwise, there are so many examples where people have gone into this and they have been very successful. So this is what I'm sure our alumni, who is going to be giving you lectures, would enlighten you with, that where exactly you can start and how best you can progress. So I'm very happy that they have taken this initiative of inviting the alumni, which in my own opinion is a wonderful way to give the right kind of impetus to the students, and this is one of the best ways to grow the department in a direction which every management school would love to have. And this is what you would find. I'm not exaggerating when I'm making this statement. This is what you would find if you go to great institutes. I've named some of those, and see what way the alumni is helping them. In certain institutes, the amount of money that alumni has rendered is mind-boggling. It is 4 times the total budget of that institute. If I'm talking about Stanford, whatever is their total budget, 4 times of that was contributed by alumni in one go in 1 month. So therefore, that's the strength, and that is what we can also have it. Only thing is we need to make a beginning. We need to initiate ourselves into that. I'm glad the department is already into it, and they would go from strength to strength. Wonderful endeavor. I'm very happy to see this right direction being given. And I would urge all our youngsters who are attending, all students, freshers, to follow this and make best use of your time, which comes once in life. You have that time now. Make best use of it, and then don't look back. Sky will not be the limit for you there. Thank you so very much. All the very best. And I also take this opportunity to express everybody a wonderful Teachers' Day, because this is one where we all feel proud of what we are in. And at least, there was a time when I was a student. Our elders in the family used to say, because this started way back in '65, when Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan was the president. That was the time my elders jocularly will tell me, oh, there is a day when teachers are also remembered. They would make this comment in a very loose manner, because, my elders came from farming community. And they said, oh, teachers are also remembered. But my grandfather used to say, if teachers are not remembered, then this society is not worth living. He was a great appreciator of the effort of teacher. He was 87 at that time, and he would have teachers in great reverence. So I take a great pleasure. I feel greatly honored to greet you on this wonderful day, which we all celebrate, and we all wish one another. We wish our teaching community grows from strength to strength, and would be in a position to give the best direction to our country under the new education policy, which is going to be purely skill-based, and that is where we are going to encourage the use of hands. Skill one will develop only if you use your own hands towards this. So I wish all the very best. Wonderful effort. God bless all of you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Professor. Actually, as you rightly said, the topmost B schools program from foreign universities, they are now deviating from the case study little bit, and they are having field program and experiential learning. Rightly said, Professor. And this talk series, we have fixed it on every Saturday, Professor. Every Saturday, our students would be meeting one alumni. And every Sunday, they will be meeting some industry experts. And monthly once, we are planning to have international talk by academia as well as industry experts. So thank you so much for your blessings and words, sir, because in your busy schedule, you have given us your time. That is really motivating us, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Over to Kritika.
Thank you, sir. I would request Jayant from Secondary MBA to give a brief introduction about our speaker, Dr. G. Krishnan.
Good evening to one and all present here. I am back to speak about our resource person, Mr. G. Krishnan, Solution Architect, Director of BFS and CTS, who is also a proud alumnus of our DMS 1993 batch. He has experienced more than 25 years in account management, delivery management, and business development in IT services and lot more. He is associated with more IT services, which includes TCS, CTS, and Accenture, and playing the role of delivery partner and a business development head. He has also has a great exposure in working across India, United States, and Europe. We feel extremely privileged to have you in the session, sir. Thank you.
I would request Mr. G. Krishnan to take over the session. Sir, the session is yours.
Sure. Thank you. Respected Vice Chancellor Dr. Gurmeet sir, respected Dean Dr. Chandrasekhar Rao, HOD Dr. Charumati Madam, Dr. RPS sir, seeing you after a very long time, Dr. Rajeshwari, and all the students. Very good evening. I think the last time I came over was in 2010 or 11 when we had the Silver Jubilee celebration. Not sure whether it was 10 or 11. That's when I met right, many of you in person, right? So we keep dropping there once in a while. We still have a physical face-to-face contact as well. So it's a bit yeah. I mean it's almost 27 years now, right? Since I passed out, and nice to see all of you there. And I was just thinking the other day, it was the days when we passed out in 93, we did not have Windows, right? I mean, Dr. RPS sir will know, right? And we used to work on DOS and Lotus Notes, and right, that was the era then. And that was the era when, that we had that challenge. IT industry was very new. Is that the industry for, for students to get into? We used to have those arguments, even during the, when at our hostel and in the college, right, you always have this thing that, hey, IT industry is the right industry, and right. So that was way back. That argument is still there. It's not that it has gone off the table. We still keep arguing that. But of course, the industry has changed, right? So the last 27 years, right? So I've been, in fact, when I as soon as I passed out, I was right, in the middle of the desert in Oman. That's when I actually started my career, right? Literally at the customer side with absolutely no experience. That time, Middle East was a different place altogether, right? Hardly you could see anything there. So that's when this whole thing started. And since then, it's been across multiple organizations, multiple countries, right? So the experience has been very good. So one of the things, right? I mean, so I was discussing with Dr. Charumati Madam was, the experience and the industry realities, right? That really go in. It has changed, right? So in fact, to that extent, the industry has its own vocabulary. So then, for example, from A to Z, there is a different set of words we use, which is probably not even there in the textbooks. I used to have this initial struggle when I went there. Right. For example, in America, just on a lighter context, they use a lot of the baseball terminologies in a formal context. Right. Today, probably you're all aware of it. They use a lot of football terminologies in the formal context. You will not even know what they're talking about. Only then when we realize that, hey, there is a whole different vocabulary which is going in, and there's a big struggle. We understand, we cannot really obviously ask them what did they literally mean. You know, things like, for example, I'll say bite the bullet. 27 years back, I did not know what bite the bullet meant. And similarly, somebody said, I want to get a ballpark estimate. I said, what is ballpark estimate? Nobody has taught me what is a ballpark estimate, right? Only then subsequently told me, no, these are all different terminologies which are used, and right, and we need to know it. So, you know, just that was on a lighter note, but the whole thing is in terms about how can how can we ensure that, right, we understand the industry realities, how does the industry work today, right, and how can they give you a head start, right? So that was the whole intent behind it, right? So this whole thing, what I wanted to share with you over the course of the next couple of weekends was to take a few of these topics, like say, bid management and pre-sales, account management. What is happening in the industry, right? What is the role that a D school graduate plays, right? What kind of career path we have in all these areas, right? So that gives you a good understanding. So once you pass out and you land there, you know what to expect, and then accordingly you can set your career. See, basically we don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? So this is something which we went through. We went through the whole difficult path. Now that we know what we have gone through, at least that this kind of sets you up in one level higher, right? At least from and end of the day, I mean, this is a competitive world, right? How do you best utilize the head start that you have, right? And you are able to gel into the industry. So that's kind of the the whole context behind the the discussion I had. Let me present. Please let me know if you're able to see it. Is it okay?
Yes.
Visible, sir. Visible.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So what I wanted to, so this discussion today, I wanted to keep it short, right? Give you a gist of what we wanted to cover in the subsequent sessions, but to get a sense of what we want to cover, right? One is about the purpose of this course itself. We'll talk about that. Then the second one is in terms of the overall understanding of the IT industry, right? There are, at least I could see 4 dimensions. How do we get a broader picture of the industry? Then where do you fit in, right? The career path in terms of across those 4 dimensions and across those various service lines. What's the kind of career path you have, right? We will take a look at it. Then some of the skills you could focus on. I know we will cover this in detail in some of the subsequent sessions, but to get a gist of what you could do and the next steps, right? So these are topics I wanted to touch upon today. Kind of move on, right, to the purpose of this course. Right at the beginning was right, some of these things, like IT industry. Am I in the right place? I mean, not to be very biased that I've been in the industry for 27 years and right, and trying to push the cover, but I would absolutely vouch for it, right? The kind of experience I have got personally, and a lot of others have got, right? And this is one industry, I think, right, like over the last 3 decades has absolutely transformed other industries. Forget about IT itself. If you take the case of BFS, it has completely changed the game, right? Now you're talking about, fintechs entering into the play. They're giving a run to the banks. And same thing with the retail. Many of the retailers have in fact gone bankrupt just because, somebody like Amazon entered the play about a decade and a half back, and many of the retailers are not even there. So that's the kind of, disruption, we have seen in the IT industry.
Just a minute, sir. Sorry for the interruption. I request all the members present here to mute your microphone, except the speaker. Thank you, sir. Continue.
Thanks. So industry, right? So from the industry, absolutely. See, the industry is going to change. As I said earlier, right? 90s, we had the question of, when we all came in, when this whole industry, right, blossomed. It all started with this Y2K and all that, right? And then the dot-coms, and the dot-com went bust, and then you had the the mobiles and right, and all that. So the next another 10-20 years, you're going to see a change. I'm sure it's going to happen, right? But whether this is the right industry for you, absolutely, right? I mean, no second doubts there. I think I would still say that the kind of exposure you can get, from in this industry is amazing, right? That's absolutely. The second aspect is around the ability to hit the road running, right? So where I was coming from was, these days when we are joining organizations, you don't have too much of a leeway to really learn on the ground, right? There is some amount of expectation that, you come up with some amount of knowledge and you're able to be productive on day one. How do you ensure that you are able to be productive on day one, right? So that's a very important aspect here. That's the second purpose of this. The third is differentiating ourselves from the competitive market. So let's be honest here, right? We have so many B schools. So what separates us from them, right? How do we ensure that when we are in a competitive market, what is the additional knowledge we have? What kind of learning that we are bringing into our work environment? So I think the differentiation will play a very key aspect here. And this is something which we are trying to say across those 3 or 4 topics that I mentioned earlier, right? What's the kind of learnings I can share with you, which will help you over the course of time. You'll be able to definitely relate to it. And the last aspect is getting a broader perspective in terms of the whole industry itself, right? So you get a whole broad perspective. You could, when you join any of these organizations, you could be on the service provider side, you could be on a startup, you could be on a captive organization, whatever, right? So once you have a broader perspective of it, you know where you fit in, what kind of career paths are there, right? That kind of puts you on a very good place. So that was the whole intent, about this course which we have. So moving on to the industry itself, I know many of you are specializing in in the IT space, and right. So just wanted to give you a broad perspective. So one thing is we tend to get a siloed view, right? IT industry, does it mean typically, is it the TCSs, Cognizants, Accentures of the world? Right? Probably yes, to some extent, because they have a pretty large play here. But that is just not the industry, right? So what you need to see at a very broad perspective is these 4 angles. One is the customer themselves. Specifically in the IT industry, what we have seen at least the last, I would say 10 years or probably more, is the customer themselves setting up their base here. Right? And for example, in Chennai, you have companies like Societe Generale and BNP Paribas and Walmart, right? Similarly, Bangalore has a whole different setup. So the customer themselves have set up an organization here, right? So what they call as a captive. And you also join the end customers. If it's an Indian, if it's a local customer, you also join the customer themselves. So that's one perspective. Then the provider perspective is where you're talking about the larger players, the Accenture, Cognizant, TCS, right, Wipro. So that's the service provider, the pretty large perspective, how we have grown over these last 2.5 decades, right? So it was pretty much driven by them. Then you have the product perspective. So now more and more you see products coming in, right? They are either large products like the Amazons, Microsoft, Oracles of the world, or the smaller ones could be like say Temenos or Pfizer, right? Many of these products coming in. So they have I'm sure you would see they have a very large presence here, and they are in fact disrupting this whole marketplace. And then the consultant perspective, right? So by consulting, I would talk about the the big 4 or the big 5 you would call the McKinsey, Ernst & Young, KPMG, right? Accenture Management Consulting. So where do they fit in here? So all of them play. So the IT industry, these are the large ones. There probably are a few more perspectives we could talk about, but these are the 4 areas I see where as you pass out of B school, right, as a management grad, you could fit in here. Where would you fit in is something which we will talk about. So we talked about the 4 perspectives, right? So the customer, let me flip back, the customer, provider, the product, and the consultant. So from a career path perspective, you probably might have heard it in the pre-placement talks, right? People, in several talks. But just to reiterate that part, so there are 4 tracks you should be looking at, right, in an industry. One is the consulting stream, where you're talking about a management consulting role or a functional consulting role, right? Could be with the big 5s, or you have your own startups, you have your own consulting, organization. So that's a very niche space you're looking at. The account management stream, this is probably the track I think where many of you might go in, right? Where you're talking about a track where you become an account manager, you become a client partner, you grow more on the commercial side of the organization. Then the third aspect is the pre-sales and solution stream. It's another interesting area where I personally spend a lot of time. It's around by solutioning, not the technical solution. This is about the enterprise solutioning, the pre-sales aspect of it, how it works with the delivery organization. This is another area where I think you have a large role to play, and it is also a very intense role. We'll talk about it later. This is something which you should focus on. And the last is the project management delivery stream, probably I would say the oldest of all these streams, right? Where people have taken the traditional route, where you build your skills from a project management perspective, grow up the organization. So these are largely the streams. I would say more from a service provider perspective, but even from a product perspective or a end customer capital perspective, it might not be very different. But I think these probably would be the large, the big four pockets you can look at. So how does it translate into a career path, right? So what I've shown here is kind of an illustration. This is more from a service provider perspective, where you get it. So you see here, so on the left hand side is where, so initially, right, let's say from bottom to top you go. Initially, when you join any organization, B-School graduate joins, they join as probably if you are in bid management, you join as a bid analyst, or if you join a pre-sales role, you join as a pre-sales architect, or if you're getting into a consulting or a delivery, you probably start as a business analyst, right? Based on your individual taste, you could pick any of these. As you grow from a 3 to 6 year horizon, where does it take you, right? You become a bid manager, or you become a solution lead, you become a consultant, and then over a 7 to 10 year horizon, what you see are the blue boxes are the kind of roles you might play. You might play a pursuit lead, account management role, or an architect role. So these are leadership roles. These are clear leadership roles in organization, and above that, right? Are the roles which probably are multi-skilled. Somebody is an account manager. He has also played a delivery role in the past. So he probably takes on multiple roles. So this is a view, based on the individual tracks you choose. It's a solutioning track, or a delivery track, or a consulting track, right? This is how you would kind of grow in an organization. Again, reiterating the point, what our Vice Chancellor had made. Learning is key, right? We studied 2 years, there's a lot of intense learning which is happening there, but it just does not stop. Every day is a surprise, right? Every day, I think we need to learn. We need to make sure that we stay in the game. We make ourselves relevant, right? And keep growing. So when we talk about some of these, when we do a double click, or when we go deep into each of these sessions, right? We will talk about account management, we will talk about bid management in the subsequent sessions, which will be actually one of these towers what you see here. Yeah. So this kind of gives you a high level view. So moving on to the skills. So as a part of the course, I'm sure give and take the specialization you are in, be it systems or marketing or finance. I know you would cover these skills, right? Account management. Some of you study something on sales management. You study certain things on some of the management concepts, and certain things on lean and all that. So you would apply it over time. One of the things personally, when I joined the organization, right after finishing B-School, initially I was thinking, hey, I studied 2 years MBA. It doesn't look like I'm applying my skills here. What am I doing, right? But over time, I realized all these things we start applying. It is just a matter of time. It will all come up, including everything, including your HR. Every skill will come up at some point in time. You will apply it. In fact, I have not called out some of the skills here. Outside of it, there was one skill, which I wanted to call out specifically, was around communication skill, right? On a very light note, it was an assignment to Switzerland, and And you're probably aware in Switzerland, they're not very conversant in English, right? So there are only 3 languages. They speak French on the south part, German on the north, and they speak Italian towards the west. So, and fortunately, I had some exposure to French, during my school days and college days and all that. And you're there in Switzerland, after 2 weeks, the customer asks you, why are you still speaking in English? Right? So this is a business conversation happening, and the customer asking you, why are you speaking? So, I mean, this is a rude shock, right? You're not going to expect that. And they said, going forward, we're going to have all our meetings in French. Whether you like it or not, that's the way, because others are not comfortable. So where I'm coming from is, even skills which we take for granted, right? We think we could manage everything in English. Sadly, that's not the case. In fact, only subsequently I learned, if only you are able to speak in French, even say 30% of French with a French customer, you've already closed the deal. That's the extent to which they kind of respect the language. So I mean, all of you being in Pondicherry, I think it gives you a good opportunity to even to learn some amount of French or some foreign language, right? Which will absolutely come in handy. So this is a personal experience which I went through. And as it's all global, as the organizations are global. In fact, I've seen many of the French customers come here, German customers come here. The minute you are able to relate with them even a bit on their language, I mean, that just literally takes your customer relationship to a different level altogether. So keep that in mind. If there is any opportunity for you to pick up another language, make sure you pick that up. So some of the other skills. So I mean, again, happy Teachers Day, and the skills we need to pick as we keep growing, right? There's no end to it. So I've called some of the skills, right? I have picked up over time. So for example, in account management, you have the strategies on a sales approach, the spin sales approach, or the LAMP, which is the large account management approach we use. Similarly, when you are all getting into a consulting stream, let's say somebody is getting into healthcare, right? And they're going to become management experts in healthcare. So you obviously need to be AHM certified. Or somebody joins the insurance industry, they join MetLife, they join Prudential, they join AIG. They need to get certified in Loma. You need to get certified over time. Similarly, on the process side, I'm sure some of you you're probably aware of these terminologies and certifications, right? Your ITIL and Scrum and TOGAF and all that. So some of them have actually become table stakes. Table stakes, by the way, is another word which we did not know before we joined an organization what table stakes meant, right? So these are certifications and learning which definitely you will take up over time. And on the communication, there are so many things. I just talked about. I just gave you one example, right? Specifically on language. There's some very good communications trainings like your Stephen Covey 7 Habits, or the De Bono 6 Thinking Hats, and the social styles trainings. If you are able to organize some trainings around that will be wonderful. These will definitely help you a long way. So the harp on the communication aspect. At least what I have seen personally, right? What works, let's say, for a US customer will absolutely not work for an European customer. They are 2 different sets of people, right? Culturally, the way they think. So, for example, you are presenting a deck to a US customer, you need to completely tweak it and present it differently to a European customer. So these are subtle things, which we will learn. I will definitely share, some aspects of it during the course of our, during the course of our sessions, right? So finally, what we would be covering, right? So I think I had discussed this with Dr. Charanti Madam. Is over the next week, a few weekends, 4 or 5 weekends, we will take one topic, right? We will probably start with the commercial process, how this whole thing works, in the IT industry. And then we will delve deep into these areas. So these are areas where you're going to, once you join these organizations, you will probably land in one of these areas. You might be a bid manager, you might get into account management, you probably might get into consulting or delivery, right? These are areas which you will get into. So as you get some more ideas about how these, what works here, what are the skills you need, what are the things you need to look for, you will be better prepared to, right, to handle and approach these areas. So that was the whole intent behind the the sessions which we are planning over the course of the next couple of weekends. Yeah. So that's all I had. I wanted to kind of make it short. I leave you with a thought that right, this is a great industry. Absolutely, it's going to change, and you need to keep learning. Right. You need to stay competitive. Right. And you need to think global as well. I think that's the big point here. Right. Change. There will be a large shift in the mindset. You need to look at it with a very different perspective. Right, and I think all of you have a pretty good career ahead. So that's all I had to share with you today. Any questions? I'll be glad to take it.
The students are requested to clarify the doubts in the chat box.
Thank you, Mr. Krishnan, for sparing your valuable time. And so we are actually taking concerted effort to engage with alumni network, and you are the opening batsman. I am very happy to have you as the opening batsman, and I also want you to be the brand ambassador of this top series of our department.
Absolutely.
And so we are actually having a lot of thought process gone into that. What is the expectation of alumni from alma mater, and how alumni can support the alma mater? So we have had some discussions and have a lot of items which I'll be sharing it as a questionnaire or a Google form, wherein I could know the interest of the specific alumnus to in this regard. What are the support they can extend, like placement or internship, or being an ambassador, or being part of the board of studies in curriculum development, or evaluation process, or even the student selection process. So we have a lot of areas in which we would like to engage or want to get support from alumni. It is not only the fund which every business would look for. That is also there in case, because our alumni network is occupying very rich positions and converted positions. So that is again another part which we could think of. Maybe endowment fund like IIM Ahmedabad has gone for IIM Ahmedabad endowment fund, which we can have it after forming a formal association, DMS Alumni Association, which is going to be registered in Pondicherry. So I think students can now ask some of the doubts, so that if more people are interested in having this program, we can have a dedicated program which could be approved by the university and take it forward. Actually, I invited banking technology students also, as they are more into IT, and our students are also majority are from engineering background, and the considerable strength of students are interested to enter IT field. That is why I thought we can float this program, and as an alumnus, he is very much willing to help the department and tune our would-be managers. So now I request the students who have any doubts or any points which you want more information from our Mr. Krishnan, please come forward.
Sir,
Motilal sir. Yeah. Sir, Motilal sir.
I have asked some questions, sir. What is the scope for manufacturing industry given the China stress issues in the backdrop?
So, see, anyway, I'm not from a manufacturing
This is
background.
Motilal's question, I think, right? Dr.
Yes, ma'am.
Motilal has asked
ma'am.
this question. Yeah.
Sir, has shared.
So Dr. Motilal is one of our creative thinking. He's a person of creative thinking, and he handles public system management and marketing papers. And he has asked this question.
So from a manufacturing perspective, right? I think see, I don't know how much of impact China is going to make on this, but I think from a career perspective, I know specifically we moved from the MRP, ERP, and right, and especially on manufacturing, I think we've done a whole lot of supply chain integration across organizations. As more and more of these things around IoT and all the other things coming, I think there's going to be absolutely a large opportunity there in the manufacturing space, especially for from an IT perspective. At least I've seen there's been no dearth of opportunities there. Manufacturing, one thing, is a very product centric as compared to a BFS or an insurance thing, where it is largely a product centric organization, right? You have a large SAP deployment or a large Oracle deployment, and so that's how it works there. But I think from a functional consulting perspective, you have a large role to play. That's where I would see, and I think more and more as we increase our manufacturing base here, I would only think you'll have good opportunities.
So, as a person who has handled the placement responsibilities in the past for 9 years, sir, we have a very great opportunity from BPS, that is services like TCS, BPS. We had opportunity to invite, and actually students who joined those companies or those consulting companies, they are getting more clients, so they had an opportunity to learn more. That is cases, more client cases they were able to learn. And now what are the opportunities our students could get, like TCS, BPS, and any other organizations you can also refer to, and if they are trained in these aspects, and what are the curriculum changes you are suggesting to us, and also a kind of a form through which I can get the preference of students who would like to understand or undergo this particular course, finishing school, what you are trying to offer. So that would really help us to know what is the real strength of students who are really interested in, so that we can arrange a dedicated training program.
Absolutely. I think personally, I've been largely on life science, healthcare, and the BFS, right? So I think the one thing which we should probably focus on is have some kind of a L0, L1 training, right? Say, for example, if you pick, for example, life science, I'll take the example of life science. So some L0 understanding of what is pharmacovigilance, what is efficacy, what is right, the whole R&D process within a life science. I think more and more, I think life science, given the current COVID situation, I think it's more and more important. So that if we can get the kind of an L0 level understanding, the same thing we can expand it to, say, an insurance, or expand it to other industries, that will be very good. So when they are joining these organizations, that gives them a head start. Or else they might not even know what this right, these terminologies and those processes. I mean, we don't need to get into a very detailed level of L3 level process which they will understand once they join the organization, but at least an L0, L1 level, I think, is something which we can do, which we should at least target the key ones: healthcare, life science, BFS, insurance. Probably I think we might be doing retail and manufacturing today. If we are there, yeah, I think then we are probably covered.
I vividly remember, sir, when TCS started or established its Insurance Solution Center, I think way back in 2009 or 10, I don't remember the year, and our students got absorbed into that, the first year of establishment, and now they are the leaders in that field, actually, Insurance Solution Center. So lot of verticals we are having in IT, and you can please suggest to our students based on their specialization also. In BFSI, we never thought insurance would be such a big, now TCS Insurance Solution Center is rocking, and all our students are now leaders in that, managers in that organization. So that time they were studying only one paper on financial risk management and insurance, like some basic. The learning curve is very short. When they joined the industry, they were really messaging me like what we have learned in this paper actually really helped us to know the terminologies. As you rightly said, the industry terminologies are really important. So, like, what are the new opportunities you can that is the industry has, the IT industry has in the coming years? Because this COVID also has created a lot of challenges, and what are the new skill sets the industry might look for? Because everywhere now the technology is the world is going to depend on technology now, right? So in that case, what kind of new skill sets the industry, with different industries, maybe IT you can be more particular, and so how this finishing school program what you are offering could be helpful to our students so that they can plan their career in a much better way. And yes, sir, some more questions from students have come. Kritika, you can read the question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sir, one of the students have asked, sir, as per present day context, will non-technical background students face difficulties to get a good job?
By non-technical, can you clarify that?
Without engineering background,
Background, sir. I mean, not.
I think it should be okay. So see, for example, the areas which I called out, right? The couple of areas which I called out. You're not going to really get into the real core technical areas of all that. Right? You don't need to get into. For example, I mean, if I were to, let us say, slightly get into the specifics, right? Let's say you are becoming a solution architect, right? I'm just giving an example, and you get into a pre-sales solution architect role. You're not going to really get into how DevOps works, how microservices works. No, you don't need to. So you stay at one level higher. It's more of how you're able to integrate these pieces. How is the commercial element coming in? How is the project management element coming in? How is the delivery risks coming in? Right? So you are staying at a project management, risk management, commercial layer, and without getting into this. So you don't need to be really a hardcore, technical person to get in. Absolutely not. And I don't think you should get into a programming area, right? So that is not. I would not recommend that. That's what you could have probably got into through your graduation itself. But if you look at the tracks, what I had mentioned earlier, there will be multidisciplinary. So there will be some of these project management skills you will apply. You will apply some of your commercial skills, right? What is return on investment? What is your cash flow? Things like that. What you have learned in your financial things, you will apply it there. You will apply your your marketing concepts, right? You talked about your 4 Ps and all those things. What you have learned, right? What is my differentiation? What is my value proposition? So all that is going to apply. All that will be quite relevant there. You don't need to be really technically skilled. That should be okay.
Thank you, sir. We have some of the questions. Which industry got affected due to COVID-19 pandemic, sir?
See, industry-wise, if you ask me, I think life science, let me answer the other way. Life science and healthcare, I think, have probably benefited. At least that's what I'm seeing or hearing on the ground. Life science and healthcare have not. On the other hand, I think they are getting more business. BFS, I would say, is neutral so far, right? I mean, it's too early to say anything, but so far, at least BFS, we're not really. Retail is the one. Retail, travel, and hospitality. I think they have been the industry which have been hit badly, especially the airline industries, the hotel industry, right? All those areas have been hit badly. Probably it might take a couple of quarters for them to recover. So BFS is neutral. Insurance is also quite neutral. I have not seen, but again, maybe 1 or 2 quarters they might hold back on their spend till they really see the recovery, right? So they might hold back on their spend.
Sir, actually morning we had a panel discussion by 10 News channel on the impact of new educational policy on business education. So we are looking for a lot of innovative courses, and in that line, what kind of courses that your organization can collaborate for a course introduction? As I said, curriculum development is one. So, and immediately that is very quickly we will be started implementing the new education policy. So in that, lot of industry relevant curriculum we are going to introduce, and how your organization and your expertise can help DMS in structuring our curriculum or introducing some new courses in collaboration with your organization. Maybe part of that will be taught by our faculty, part will be taught by your employees or by you. Like that, we want some kind of industry people who teach our students regularly, maybe on virtual mode if they are not able to visit personally or physically. So what kind of support your organization and your expertise can give it to DMS?
I think there will be a lot to offer, madam. So, in terms of what can be done, I think we should. I know. So this thing has literally taken everybody by surprise, right? Nobody is even thought about it 6 months back. So completely, it has caught us napping. That's the word. And we are all learning by the day, right? How to work and even. For example, even work from home, we never knew that all of us could work from home and still be productive. So so far it has worked. But for example, there are challenges, especially in some industries where, there is data sensitivity, those kind of industries. BFS has problems, especially with continental Europe customers, right? You cannot take data out. Those kind of industries, there are challenges, how we can work from here. But I think we need to have certain, for example, data. How do we handle data privacy in these kind of scenarios? How do we work? If something like this happens, what is the workaround? What is the plan B? These are things I think we should look at. But as of now, I don't think, to be very honest, right? Everybody is learning, but we should have something in place.
Actually, DMS is now not very strong in systems area, sir. So that is why I'm looking at offering some courses in collaboration with the industry, like your organization in the IT area, so that we can also strengthen that specialization, because Professor Paneerselvam and Professor Nambirajan are system faculty, and as we need more courses on operations side, they are catering to that need. And coming to system side, we are not actually having dedicated faculty. So that is the reason why I thought we would have some courses, that is maybe flip-flop classes or virtual classes, partly by our faculty and partly by your organization.
No. So okay. One of the things I will also do is talk to some of the other alumni, right, and see, I think, jointly what is it that we can do, right? I know some of them are in in senior positions in Accenture and TCS and others as well, and brainstorm and see what is it that and then I think we should probably have some kind of a current benchmark to see where we are today, see what is the gap, and then see how we can
apart from this alumni talk, we would like to introduce this faculty and industry interaction. So we can have a focus group discussion or roundtable, like maybe monthly once or even 2 months once. That is some IT experts and the faculty group, so that we can deliberate on what kind of curriculum changes we can bring it in each and every functional area. So most of the alumni are in almost all the areas, right? Many are in many areas, like HR experts are there. Finance experts are there, IT experts are there, then marketing experts are there, operations, systems, and also a lot of entrepreneurs are there. So we can think of having some dedicated roundtable discussion or focus group discussion, wherein we can deliberate only faculty and the group of alumni, like-minded alumni who are ready to offer their services to the alma mater, so that we can think of revising the curriculum in a much better way, I hope.
Absolutely.
And some questions have come from students. One student from banking technology is whether we have any opportunities in IT industry after this pandemic situation. She's asking. Actually, lot of opportunities I could even see as a non-IT person. Yes.
No, absolutely. There's going to be an immediate, right? People might just cut back on some spends, but I think it will bounce back. Absolutely. See, I think the way cyber
security has emerged as a big threat for all the organizations. because every organization is depending on IT and IT usage, and here cyber threat. You know, there are dedicated courses which are offered by IIT Madras along with NASCOM and the Digital Skills Academy. And people who are interested in, they are providing certification programs, and they will become alumnus of IIT Madras. So that is why, because you know, they have identified 10 skills, NASCOM identified 10 skills as the future skills of Industry 4.0. So in that, those skills are there. Kritika, other questions can you put forward?
Yes, I'm sure, ma'am. So Sitaran asked, in today's scenario, what will be the scope for management students with no coding knowledge in IT industry?
Similar question, what Preetham asked.
See, the one thing you have to see that those 4 tracks I showed you, right? If you do not have coding industry experience and if you're not very passionate, then don't get into the delivery track of it, right? But you could focus on the consulting, bid management, you know, the pre-sales and the solutioning part, right? Maybe you stay away from delivery. Even if you do not know coding, that's fine. Absolutely, that's okay. See, end of the day, what you need to understand is the high level approach. For example, let me give you an example. To understand cloud, right? To understand AWS. Today, if you ask me very honestly, everybody needs to know cloud. Whether you are in IT industry or not, it doesn't matter. If you do not know cloud, we will be irrelevant, simply irrelevant, right? So, for example, to know cloud, the very basics of it, right? The very basic. So, for example, if you're doing a cloud practitioner course, I'll give you an example. If you're doing a cloud practitioner course in AWS, that is sufficient. You will know what are the parts. You know what does it take to integrate them. You don't need to become a solution architect in AWS. Absolutely not. Where you need to really do coding, right? I would not suggest that. But take up, for example, a cloud practitioner certification, right? So as long as you're in the industry today, right? Amazon is disrupted to that level that if we do not know cloud, we become absolutely irrelevant. So that's the state we are. So if you do not know coding, what I would suggest is, but you still need to know the overall process. How does the industry work? What is the development cycle? How does the general implementation happen, right? What is the certain things which we will cover? We will talk about it. You know what I'm talking about. But that doesn't mean you will need to get into the nuts and bolts of coding. Not necessary.
Sir, we have another question. If we choose our career as business analyst, what are all the skills I have to focus on? In which area I should be strong?
Yeah. So getting back to the earlier point, right? If you are a business analyst, by the time you are a business analyst, you might have made up your mind on which industry you want to get into, right? So typically when you're getting in there, you are a business analyst in life science, BFS or insurance, whatever. So within that industry, there are certifications. There is LOMA in insurance. There is, life science has its own set of certifications, right? Where you can become an expert. And then as long as you are, from a business analyst point, there are 2 ways you could go. Either you take up a consulting stream, right? Right, and then you work your way up, or you could move into the account management stream. That is also possible. And then you way up. See what you need to do is right. You need to think is, that's what I showed in the diagram. You might start off as a bid management. You might start off as a business analyst, but over time you need to pick up additional skills. You cannot be doing just consulting, or you cannot be doing just delivery. You are in delivery. You want to move to the next level. You need to know account management, right? You need to be multi-skilled. So after a point in time, you start acquiring others. You might start with one skill, but over time you will acquire additional skills. Because at the end of the day, you are not going to become a business analyst for the rest of your life. No, absolutely not. After 6-7 years, you're probably a consultant, or you're probably moved into a leadership role.
Sir, actually, as you pointed, any more questions, ma, Kritika?
That's all, ma'am.
So as you rightly pointed out, sir, the language skills, no, I have noted already as my next work. So I will ensure that at least one foreign language our DMS students would acquire in the coming year. When they go, when they fly out from DMS, they will be having one foreign language that I will ensure. And the second is, as I discussed, faculty alumni corner initiative I would like to introduce. Maybe you can take a lead on this, and we can have a dedicated discussion, and we can contribute towards the curriculum development, because new educational policy has given a lot of scope for innovation. And we can go for a lot of credit transfers on ODL mode, that is open and distance learning. From anywhere in the world they can learn, and we can account for that credit. They have a digital bank for storing credit, and we can award degrees. So we can also think of innovating curriculum like management, IT, agri-IT, lot of combinations we can work out. Now they are looking for these innovative courses like social entrepreneurship, CSR and IT, lot of combinations we can work out, right from engineering, medicine, agri, and any area. Now they are looking for multidisciplinary education, and everywhere the management education should be there. So that is the point they are emphasizing. So I think looking forward to lot of deliberations on this. I just thought of this faculty alumni corner. I will introduce this initiative in the next coming months, sir. Maybe very shortly we will take some discussions on that, and we will introduce that. And I think over to Dr. Kritika or Rajeshwari. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time. Sir, Dean,
Thank you for your wonderful insights, sir.
yeah. Dean, sir, wanted to make some comments. Yes, sir, please.
It's a great beginning. I just want to thank the alumni. After 27 years, he has started sharing a lot of his experiences. Rather, I have to say, he's showering lots of business terms. Still in the classroom, we still teach about what is textbook. But today, you have made a good beginning. Many of us, we have been hearing here and there, but you have started putting that in right perspective for our students. Now I think this terminology going to be picked up by the department, by the faculty. Even in our syllabus, we will reframe lots of those the wordings that makes the students more closer to the business terminology and the workplace terminology. I think today you have made a good beginning, and lots of things are in store. I think it shows that we have even faculty and students have to learn a lot of things from your experience over a couple of weeks, as and when you find time, as and when you get an occasion to interact with us. And maybe each function, even you are talking about the consulting function and the nitty-gritty of it, with the help of you and maybe our friends who are right now on that field, maybe along with you, if you can bring not only alumni, sir, if you are fine in your own organization, if you find somebody very good in good speaking,
Absolutely.
if you can connect us, and both of you can be on the link, and you can share lots of your ideas. Slowly it will take some time to us to pick up your language or your communication, your business language, business jargon. But definitely our students require this, and this is the time that they have to be shown the world. And you as rather parent to many of our students, because 27 years of experience that automatically for many of these students might not have born, and now you are a parent. Now it becomes an obligation for you to show them what the world is. That leadership, we are looking at you. I'm very thankful onto the School of Management. I'm thankful to you, your evening, great evening, your time, and you have spent some time with us, and this is a good beginning. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And sir, as Vice Chancellor pointed out, we are not stopping with just having a lecture and closing that particular session. And we are actually handing over this to an active placement coordinators of the department.
No, I am here.
Once the lecture is over, that link and that details will be handed over to the placement coordinators, and they will be following it up with you, and you will also be part of our Industry Institute Interface event, which we are going to have in a different format, not like the older format, 2-3 days at a stretch. As now it is a COVID time, we are planning to have more 4 such events dedicated to each functional area that we will be discussing and finalizing. Maybe they will again discuss with you and explore a lot of opportunities. And faculty alumni corner, I am actually making it with an objective to bring more consultancies and training programs, EDPs, MDPs and consultancy along with alumni. So these are all our ideas, sir. So wherever you could step in and help DMS, you are welcome. Dr. Kasi would like to make any comments?
Yes, madam.
Please.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Krishnan, sir. I'm Dr. R. Kasalingam, working as a professor in this department. So I have joined in the year 2010. So you may not be knowing me. So I am in the area of finance. I am the placement coordinator for this year, sir. So I will be disturbing you often to know what is happening and how it can be given to the students, sir. So in fact, I am associating with the industry. For example, for TCS, I have associated with the TCS. So they are bringing out some courses for constructing the question paper and online exam. For that, I have closely coordinated with the TCS, sir. So in fact, they have given me a lot of money also in that process. So I will be talking to you often. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So let us have a good family interaction in future also, sir.
So it is not going to be silos, it is going to be an integrated activity whenever any guest lecture happens, it will be followed up by the other coordinator, and we will actually leverage all the contacts, sir. And one more question we received, sir, if you don't mind, we can take. Kritika, can you put forward? In some part of the country, we can see the healthcare system have collapsed. What are your views on the challenges for business analysts and solution architects post-COVID? Already answered or what?
See, healthcare from an IT perspective, I don't think so. In fact, the spend will be more. In fact, I think the two industries which are actually benefiting, at least what I'm hearing from colleagues, are life science and healthcare. There's absolutely no dip. So in fact, the spend is on the higher side as compared to hospitality and retail, right, where they're taking the big hit.
So thank you so much, sir. And now over to Kritika. You can invite Dr. Rajeshwari.
Thank you once again, sir. Thank you for your wonderful insights. I would request Dr. Rajeshwari, our DMS Talk Series Coordinator, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good evening to one and all present now. First of all, as we have reached the end of the session, it's time to show our
Video
gratitude.
போட்டுக்கங்க madam video போட்டுக்கங்க.
Video is on, sir.
Video போடுங்க madam.
Video is on, I think.
Now it is coming, madam.
She
Now
is
it
in
is
the DMS Talk Series icon. She is the coordinator, so in the Talk Series icon. She is.
Okay, yeah, yes, madam. Yes, proceed.
Okay.
The brand.
Good evening, everyone. As we have reached the end of the session, it's time to show our gratitude. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor for joining us. Even after he had given a short notice, he joined us, and I thank Professor for recognizing our initiatives and efforts taken by the department latest, and he also shared his views. I thank Professor for his contributions, and I would like to thank our Dean School of Management for joining us and staying with us till the end and sharing his views. And you are there always for us, sir, as a support and as a motivator. Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to thank our head of the department, Professor Charmati, for bringing this new initiative, because so far we had only just guest lectures. So as this year, we started just this kind of initiatives, just having different types of lectures and inviting alumni as a part of this talk series. So I thank Madam for bringing this new initiative. Thank you, ma'am. And our guest of the day, a special thanks to Mr. Krishnan for just joining us today, because this is a kind of eye-opener to our students, sir. So far, actually, they are just studying what is being taught in the classrooms, and just they are sitting for the placements. And as you said, the terminologies, they are actually having a lack of knowledge related to that. And as you are coming forward to just conduct series of sessions to introduce all these kind of knowledge, which is actually help them to help them to match the standards of the industry requirements. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to thank you in advance for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.